In this episode, you'll discover the policy leadership that Masters Sport needs if it is to grow.
Feel the grip of the oar handle, smooth yet firm in your hands. Taste the salt of your own sweat and the occasional splash of water. It's all part of the journey. Welcome to another episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. Each week, our host, Masters rowing coach Rebecca Caro, dives deep into the world of Masters rowing. Whether you're on the water or in the gym, join us to become a faster master. Let's go rowing.
Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Faster Masters Rowing Radio. I'm Rebecca Caro, and today I want to talk about a conversation I had last night with a researcher. Her name is Sophie Harrington, and she is researching recommendations to improve access to girls' and women's sport using public policy measures. Now, this was a really interesting angle for me because I'm no expert in public policy. But our conversation, which started around how did I get into sport? Did I notice differences between access and enthusiasm for men's and women's sport as I was growing in the sport? You know, what was it that got me going? What was it that continued to motivate me? So they were really interesting discussions. And of course, bear in mind, I was 19 when I first started rowing. I wasn't a sporty kid at school. I did try. I just wasn't very good at it. And it was her focus was very clearly on the male-female side. But when I mentioned Masters Sport, she realized that there was like a whole new area where actually public policy can have quite a sizable impact in sport for life. Now, that is something that a lot of governments, a lot of organizations spout, but do they actually deliver? And in order to grow Masters Sport, there are quite a few things that I believe are inhibitors, things that prevent improvement. Now, some of these are what I call structural, as in they are embedded into the way we do things and the way we think about things and the way we self-organize as a mostly voluntary run, grassroots sport. And so today, I thought it would be worth running through some of these and also looking at what are the things that senior leadership, whether it's in government, whether it's in national governing body, could be doing to enable change to happen, to improve access to sport and people's enthusiasm and interest in doing adult sport. Later this week, I'm giving a speech at the US Rowing Masters Rowing Conference that is also coincidentally on growing Masters Rowing. And I'd love if you could come along. You'll find all the details on the US Rowing website. Tickets are available through regattacentral.com or drop me a line and I'll tell you how to find them. I will say I know it's being recorded, so don't worry if you can't listen live. Now let's look at the things that seem to constrain our sport. Start with something really straightforward, memberships. Many clubs offer memberships which are annual fees, and some people just can't afford to pay a large lump sum all at once. We very rarely offer things like pay to play. Can you just turn up and pay when you use the service? I know that golf clubs, certainly some of them, do things like this. Along with that, what about looking at time of day pricing? Our rowing equipment plant lies idle for probably 22 hours a day. Now, I'm not advocating rowing throughout the night in a 24-hour cycle, but it may be possible to offer memberships that allow you to train at a different time of day where the plant is mainly idle. We know that most school kids tend to do sport after school in the afternoons. We know that many competitive athletes like to train in the early morning so that they can then go on to work or university or school. There are gaps in between these peak usages. What are the things that you as a club could do to sweat your assets, get more money, revenue in from memberships that use them when they're not in demand from other groups. What about coach education? It is something that it's a drum I enjoy banging, but we know that the teaching methods that are appropriate for youth are not the same as appropriate for older adults. So looking at the psychology and physiology of your athlete range and training your coaches so they know what to do in order to effectively and appropriately train a more diverse range of participating athletes. Competition structure is another huge growth inhibitor. We need to have local, regional or provincial and national competitions, and we need to have competitions that are perhaps not competitive for everyone. So participatory competitions. Think of something like park run. Yeah, it is a competition, but a large number of people who go and do park runs treat it as a training outing, not necessarily a race to be won. So what are the rowing equivalents of park runs? Now, they could be scrimmages where you go to another club and you go for a row with people, at a different place. They could be just shared excursions together. Let's go together, all bring our own boats, meet at this one place and do a touring row around a nice lake that, maybe we have never rowed on before. In my club, I've noticed there are people who join and row for fitness and for social fun, and then after maybe 5 or 6 years are persuaded to try racing. And understanding that different people's desire to compete is different, but it doesn't stop them being a part of our sport, means that our competition structure, particularly for the people who are new to competing, not necessarily new to rowing, it needs to be very organized so that you can go somewhere, do the event, and perhaps get home by lunchtime. So very hyper-local, and possibly equipment being provided by the regatta so that you genuinely just have to get yourself there. You don't need to worry about anything else. Now you can build up from that, and it ties into my next point, which is athletic pathways. Having a way so that people of different experience can participate in events alongside others whose experience is similar is, I think, a much better framework for our competition structure than just age. Age doesn't work when somebody is the same age as me, but has many fewer years of experience. It doesn't make for a level playing field in competitive terms. So having plural athlete pathways that incorporate fitness rowers with challenges that are not necessarily races, that move people into competition so that they feel that they have a chance of doing well against other people who are like themselves, is really important. And I think that those beginner steps in athletic pathways are also important for those local and hyper-local events. And lastly, social inclusion. We masters know that we like a cup of tea and a slice of cake after our workouts. Making sure that the social aspect is included across all sports. It's not just play and then go home. That really encourages people to build friendships and to stick around. So there you go. There's a whole load of ideas about ways that public policy could really improve sport access and enable and facilitate sport for life. What do you think?
We are part of the RowingChat podcast network. Please tell your fellow rowers about the show. If you've learned just one helpful thing from today's episode, please consider supporting the show for as little as $1 per month by visiting fastermastersrowing.com/podcast.